Hey, so I'm back again. We're here. I've returned. Um, about 12 months ago, I did a pod on just simply the fact that a particular record went number one on Billboard, and I was, it was like a crushing blow when it came to beef. One thing I will say, just for starters, I don't have a dog in this race, so I listen to uh, everybody. I don't have a bias, but I think the interesting part with the internet, especially with opinions, is like there's a lot of like discrediting that goes on, and like one of the things that was a reminder for me when I went to this concert, which I'll get into that in a bit of a second, is like I think sometimes people can sleep on how many fans somebody can have on a global basis. Like yeah, K Dot from the West Coast, but it's like his fans ain't just West Coast. Like he's been doing like global records. He got a record with Tech Nine. Most people don't know who Tech Nine is. That's another person that's like been on tour 60 city shows yearly for the last like 20 years. Like people have fans that just aren't like the demographics can range. Like I'm seeing like old white men at the concert. We're talking like 60s, talking about, oh yeah, I saw DJ Mustard at Coachella. I wasn't really I wasn't really impressed. And it's like it's like people forget how many fans people can have just because you might not listen to them. The other part that I really kind of picked up on, and I'm based in Atlanta now, but when I was in Kansas City, one thing I can say is like Kansas City is one of the first cities of the West, and we have a particular liking to West Coast artists, and there's definitely like one of the drawbacks of seeing somebody like a Kendrick Lamar in Atlanta is you're not gonna get the same energy that you're gonna get when you're seeing somebody like a Kendrick in the West Coast. Like those two shows that are gonna be at SoFi are gonna be literally insane. Atlanta has a lot of energy, but it's like if you see Future in Atlanta, it's gonna be a different concert than seeing Future at Rolling Loud in California. You're just not gonna get that same energy. But one thing I wanted to tie into, because I haven't been speaking too much on it, just because like with the beef it kind of gets the message gets lost in the mix. But just want to talk about like a series of accomplishments when it comes to like live performance. When I'm thinking about the Grand National Tour, one of the things that was super impressive is like this isn't even like the largest album in the world. Like the GNX album, what's that, 12, 13 songs deep, nothing too crazy. We're just really high quality records, nothing oversaturated. SZA has obviously been a big draw with her fan base and her music for a long time. She released a deluxe. I don't think the deluxe was well received, but the original album was. So she was already going to get her draw. Um, in the tour, they just happen to be label mates. One thing that I will say about this tour that was super dope, this isn't one of those tours where one artist comes out, they perform their records, then another artist comes out and they perform their records. They literally did this tour together. I'm talking like Mustard opens up the show. That goes on promptly at 7. He probably plays for about an hour. Stops at 8. They start their show promptly at around 9 o'clock. They perform different parts together. They have like 4 series of phases of them performing kind of in unison. Like their stage and their props and their dancers all work together. It's all one show. It isn't 2 separate shows. That's one thing I was really really impressed with. And 11 o'clock you're out of there, you're headed home, so it's not anything crazy. I remember seeing Future maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, not this last tour but the previous tour, and Buddy didn't come out till midnight. I'm talking about we were on our last leg trying to survive that tour. But I say all that to say, Once you start diving into this tour, you gotta really give them some props on the sense of accomplishment here. So, we're only 4 shows in to this tour, and look at what's going on here as far as like reported revenue, tickets sold, average revenue, average tickets sold. Your average ticket sell count is 47,000 per show at an average price of $220. That's crazy. And then, as we go down the list here, the first couple shows I was already like super impressed with. I knew that NRG Houston was going to be a mixed bag just because that was like the only tour that didn't have tickets sold, and you could see people on the internet, kind of, really talking about like, oh, yeah, he's not selling tickets, blah 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 blah. But I mean, look at the numbers here. Like whether they lower ticket prices or not at the last minute, whatever the case may be, you still sold 42,000, tickets, 93%, filled show on your seating chart did 9.4 million. First show that was automatically sold out. New Arlington was sold out. For 49,000. Then they got to Atlanta. Look at these Atlanta numbers. They got the Charlotte show today. Majority of the rest of these shows are sold out. Like we're talking like upper 90%, already sold. Look at these numbers on Atlanta. 51,200 people. I'm just gonna round that up. $11 million in revenue in one show. One thing I'll tell you, if I was a rapper in Atlanta, I would be going to the drawing board and figuring out how I'm going to step my game up. Because how you let somebody from Compton, California, come in and sell out the largest venue in your city, so you and your family members and people can attend. Dolo, like not brought out Playboy Cardi. That's definitely an Atlanta artist who also has a show with Weekend coming up on at the same stadium. So we'll leave Cardi out the mix because I think he's definitely reaching those points. But for everybody else, it's like like this sets the bar in your city, and it's like one thing I will say about Drake and his touring is I'm not sure like why he hasn't done a stadium tour. Now I do know that he charges a lot more for his tickets. So like if you have 2 shows at State Farm, those sit, maybe 18,000 a piece. You're doing 40,000 in 2 days, but you could charge double the price for floor seats. So it's like from a money making standpoint, I get that part, but when you're looking at it from a like a size difference, that's the part that's kind of interesting for me. And people can say what they want to say about bots and things like that, but it's like bots can't sell out a stadium. When you're looking at, let me see if I can blow this up for y'all. When you're looking at when you're looking at how like bots don't sell out a stadium like this. This is in the nosebleeds. I don't even know how they seeing this concert right now. I can keep it going. Let's see what else we got. We got like come on. The beautiful scenery, like Atlanta really went up. It was insane. Let me see if I can make myself smaller. Hold on, so I can give y'all a better view of this here. It's like Atlanta really went up. That's the part that's like really crazy about this whole deal. The concert itself was pretty dope. The energy was pretty dope. Last time I was at um, the stadium for last time I was at Ben Stadium for a concert was for Kanye. And even with the two Kanye shows that sold out, those were big hits. But you know, Ye didn't have the floor, so it's like, yeah, you sold out bins, but you sold out the seats. You didn't have the floor. Having the floor along with the seats is a whole different dynamic. The only time that I've experienced that is during On the Run 2 with Beyonce and Jay-Z. And it's like when you're on that floor and it's a 50,000 seater, you know, it's like you look, you know, in a 360 direction and it's just a sea of people. And, you know, we're not talking about a sea of people like I saw a couple posts of like, yeah, the energy looked dead, the energy looked dead. When you looking at it from this view, you can't see the movement, but you see people's phones up. Like the energy in there was insane, like especially during certain parts. Um, Let me see if I could find some other. I thought the deposition deal was real cool. I don't want to spoil the concert if nobody has seen it yet, so I won't go into details. But if you know anything about like Lil Wayne and his deposition, I would definitely go back and rewatch Lil Wayne's deposition when he was going to jail, so you can kind of get context on like how they approached that from a creative perspective for the tour. The other thing I liked about the tour too is like anytime we went into like a cutscene or any type of situation where there was other stuff going on and there was a break between songs, Kendrick never left. He's literally right there the whole time, you know. And it's like, you know, and then the other aspect of that is like there's a pit here. So similar to how Beyonce had her, you know, Renaissance club where the people on the inside, you know, you got people on the inside and then there's a stage around that. So at any given point, when let me see if I can find a better picture of the stage here. It's probably a good idea. It's probably a good description right here. So if you see the stage right here, as they're going around the stage, it's like you got to perform. You got to face this way and perform. You got to face that way and perform. Like you're constantly catering to multiple different areas of the audience, and you see how this person is like way back on the second balcony here. There's a ton of people like to keep entertained. You know, I thought they did a really good job of how they structured this tour. Plus, Ben Stadium is just, if you've never been to Ben Stadium, definitely check out a soccer game or something like that because that shit is fire. They got this little skylight right here, and then there's a roof that opens. They had it closed, but the aesthetics was just, it was just insane for a rap show because you know, like, yes, everybody else, Taylor Swift has been in there, but a rap show in Ben's unheard of. Like, just that by itself was enough to go see that. Um, Let me see if I let's see. This looks like a okay. This is probably a great picture here to leverage because you can see the pit here. You can see the screens. This is when Mustard was DJing, so Mustard's right here while you're opening, and you can even see like way back here in the seats. It's like you know people. If you buying a ticket for right here, I was zooming in on people up here. How are you even seeing the concert from way up here? How are you seeing the concert from way up here? But that's besides the point. You got people taking pictures, like you know, it was really up. It was really a moment, you know. Damn, somebody close right here. Yeah, there's got to be somebody in the energy floor. It's like super close. Pyro was going crazy. Um, Buddy brought out Playboy Cardi. I was definitely super excited for that because you can see like there's a moment where you can see the screens, which I'll ruin this because Playboy Cardi's not coming out in your city. Um, and then it's like you can hear the scream, and then boom, Playboy Cardi flashes across the stage, and because there's a camera that's back there, and I was like, yo. And then when they both came out during the Vamps and the Boogies part, here, like yeah, they're both coming out here. Um, that part was pretty insane too, as far as like you know that little moment. Which I can go ahead and ruin that because you're like I said, Cardi's not coming out in your city. That was more of an Atlanta thing. Shout out to you know those special guest moments. Definitely was able to be excited for that. Um, Not gonna lie, didn't know a lot about the SZA, you know, records. So there was that. I think I didn't go to the pop out concert. I was gonna go to the pop out concert, decided last minute not to go. So didn't get to see Euphoria and didn't get to see Not Like Us and the rest of the Beef records like right there in the moment at like the peak. But I will say that like the crowd responded well to the Euphoria record. You could it was definitely some Drake lovers in the mix. I literally watched some, I won't say the demographic, but I definitely saw some people like Not Like Us came on and they was like, oh, the concert's over for us, and they like got up and started walking out. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, damn, you're like super loyal, like super loyal to Drizzy right now. Um, but yeah, super entertaining concert. I would say if you have a chance to see the concert, I would definitely go. I'm gonna put the dates here so you could see if it is going to be in your city. They already did the Atlanta show. The Charlotte show is tonight. You got Philly. Um, Let me see. Where's some other? Let's see. Seattle. You got the SoFi. Oh, it's three shows. 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Yeah. Not three or four. Yeah, three shows. Inglewood, SoFi Stadium. That's gonna be insane. Um Arizona, San Francisco, Vegas. That's a big stadium. That's gonna be insane. St. Louis shows up for a lot of for a lot. So I'm kind of upset they're skipping Kansas City. I think that would have been dope in Arrowhead, but and Tech Nine's in Kansas City, so I think that would have been a show that they would have sold a lot of tickets on. But one thing I'm finding is like the person sitting next to me was from Alabama, so it's like, yeah, this show is in St. Louis. This is probably gonna draw in people from all nearby areas. So like Kansas City, South Missouri, things like that. It's probably not gonna draw in anybody from Chicago because you already got a show at Soldier Field. Also, venue that Kanye sold out. And then you got this is the show right here though on Father's Day weekend. This the show that's gonna be crazy right here because it's two dates. They did two dates, and then two. The rumor is the weekend might come out, so that would be a pretty dope show to go to too. So like if you're gonna go to the show and you got the means, I would definitely try to lock in a one of the three SoFi Stadium shows, and just deal with that price of getting a hotel and a rental in LA because that's gonna be a nightmare. Or get the Toronto show; those are gonna be moments. All the other shows are gonna be great. Carolina is real big on just hip hop in general, so I think tonight's show is probably gonna do numbers. It's already sold out, but I was very impressed, and I think it does set the bar for future concerts. Like, um, if you are a Chris Brown fan. Well, I butchered that. Breezy Bowl is going to be in stadiums, and he's already been like selling out stadiums outside the country. So it's like he has the set list, he has the, him as a Chris Brown as a performer. He's going to be, super entertaining. Oh shit, I forgot. I didn't even think about these Europe dates. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. Um, but yeah, like with Chris Brown getting a stadium tour, it's gonna be interesting to see how certain artists in urban like R&B and rap categories push the needle. Because definitely after this, I would be looking for a Drake stadium tour, or even like if I'm keeping it real, a Young Money. Like if they did a Drake, Nicki, Wayne tour in stadiums, I think that would hit real hard, especially with the whole blowback from Wayne, not getting Super Bowl and not wanting to do Super Bowl. I think Nicki fan base is super strong. She could sell out State Farm by herself, or basketball stadiums by herself. Drake can sell out basketball stadiums by itself. I don't think Wayne can. I don't think Wayne, outside of his peak '09 year, has ever been a successful like ticket seller. But his demographic is like has a range too. So I think if you did a Young Money tour with Drake, Nicki, or a Young Money reunion tour, I think that could do stadium numbers. Just with Drake being on it, I think without Drake they couldn't do it. But I think Drake could do a stadium tour by himself. But I think it would be more of a moment if he had his Young Money label mates with him. Just because we just never really had that outside of the first initial Young Money tour. So that's really kind of like my synopsis. We're a year out from Family Matters and Meet the Grams. So like, that's all over the internet right now. And just like, how 60 Hours just really kind of changed the face of hip hop and rap beef and things like that. But I definitely wanted to kind of take some time and just kind of highlight how cool this tour was and how much I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend, if you are a fan, I would definitely recommend getting a ticket and checking that out. If you're not a fan, I'd go on ahead and skip it. Go see somebody else. Unless you're just a fan of live shows. Like I said, didn't really know all the SZA records. That kind of fell flat for me, but the SZA fans went up. She did a couple key records I knew. And yeah, stay safe out there. I got another video coming, but it is not music related. It's gaming related. So if you are on stream still, stay tuned because I actually have an entirely other video to do. And yeah, thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Holla at you later.